Blue Stool number 65, Sheila Liming.
The title of my talk is What It Means to Remember. The curfew tolls the knell of parting day. The lowing herd winds slowly o'er the lea. The plowman homeward plods his weary way and leaves the world to darkness and to me. Now fades the glimmering landscape from the sight, and all the air a solemn stillness holds, save where the beetle wheels his droning flight, and drowsy tinklings lull the distant folds. Save that from yonder ivy-mantled tower, a moping owl does to the moon complain of such as wandering near his sacred bower, molest his ancient solitary reign. Beneath those rugged elms, that yew tree's shade, where heaves the turf in many a moldering heap, each in his narrow cell forever laid, the rude forefathers of our hamlet sleep. The breezy call of incense-breathing morn, the swallow twittering in the straw-built shed, the cock's shrill clarion, nor the echoing horn, no more shall rouse them from their weary bed. For them no more the blazing hearth shall burn, or busy housewife ply her evening care, or children run to lisp their sire's return, or climb his knee, the envied kiss to share. Oft did the harvest to their sickle yield, their furrow oft the stubborn glebe has broke. How jocund did they drive their team to field, how bowed the woods beneath their steady stroke. Let not ambition mock their useful toil, their homely joys or destinies obscure, or grandeur here with a disdainful smile the short but simple annals of the poor. The boast of heraldry, the pomp of power, and all that beauty, all that wealth ever gave, alike await the inevitable hour. The paths of glory lead but to the grave. Nor you, ye proud, impute to these the fault if memory o'er their tombs no trophies raise, where through the long-drawn aisle and fretted vault, the pealing anthem sounds the note of praise. Can storied urn or animated bust back to its mansions call the fleeting breath? Can honor's voice provoke the silent dust, or flattery soothe the dull cold ear of death? Perhaps in this neglected spot is laid some heart once pregnant with celestial fire, hands the rod of empire could have swayed, or waked with ecstasy the living lyre. But knowledge, to their eyes, her ample page rich with the spoils of time, did ne'er unroll. Chill penury repressed their silent rage, and froze the genial currents of the soul. Full many's a gem, of purest ray serene, the deep unfathomed caves of ocean's bear. Full many's a flower is born to blush unseen and waste its sweetness on the desert air. Some village Hampton, that with dauntless breast the little tyrant of his fields withstood, some mute inglorious Milton here may rest, some Cromwell guiltless of his country's blood. The applause of listening senates to command, the threats of pain and ruin to despise, to scatter plenty o'er a smiling land and read its history in a nation's eyes. Their lot forbade, nor circumscribed alone their growing virtues, but their crimes confined, forbade to wade through slaughter to a throne, or shut the gates of mercy on mankind. The suffering pangs of conscious truth to hide, to quench the blushes of ingenuous shame, and heap the shrine of luxury and pride with incense kindled at the muse's flame. Far from the madding crowds, ignoble strife, their sober wishes never learned to stray. Along the cool, sequestered vale of life, they kept the noiseless tenor of their way. Yet even these bones, from insult to protect, some crude memorial still erected nigh, with uncouth rhymes and shapeless sculptured deck, implores the passing tribute of a sigh. Well, you've just heard of the first 24 verses from the poem Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard by the British poet Thomas Gray. He wrote them almost 200 years ago, in 1749. And the poem took him about a year to write. He started it in the fall of 1749, finished it in the winter of 1750, and then spent another 6 months revising it. It's 40 verses in iambic pentameter. It took me about a year to memorize it. I started memorizing it during the COVID pandemic because I had a feeling that I was losing my memory at that time. I couldn't feel the difference between days. I couldn't feel time passing by. I couldn't tell you if it was a Monday or a Thursday or it was March or it was October. Every day felt the same. So I started out thinking 1 verse per week, 40 verses. I'll get to the end of this year and I will have this poem, and it'll be something that I can carry around with me. The poem is about three things. I mean, it's about more than three things, but it's definitely about three things, and that's what I want to emphasize here. The first thing that it's about is death, obviously. It's written in a country churchyard. And it gives us images of things that are ending. The poem opens with descriptions of evening. The sun is going down. The cows are coming back in from the fields to the barn. The birds are singing their final songs. Everything is shutting down for the day, and darkness is descending. The second thing that it's about is graves. And graves are markers of memory. They are things that we erect, or used to erect anyway, so that we had an excuse to remember a person or a population that came before us. So in New England, when you walk through graveyards, you see these old tombstones, and every now and then they have a Latin phrase written at the top, memento mori. A Latin phrase phrased in the imperative that means, remember you must die. And it's a message to the living, to remember to seize the day, live life to its fullest, but also to think about the people who have come before them, even if those people were not famous, or were not accomplished, or were not rich, or were not wealthy. They still live in our memory if we choose to remember them. The third thing that the poem is about then is memory, the importance of memory and of remembering, something that feels really difficult today in our highly digitized world. We don't need to remember. We can look things up whenever we want to. I didn't need to remember this poem. I can go look at it for free on the internet whenever I want to. But memory is something that you carry around inside you, and it's something that no person can take from you. Time can take it from you, disease can take it from you, illness can take it from you, but a person can't come in and shut that website down and say you can't look at it anymore. It's not the Internet Archive, RIP, which is not available to us right now because of copyright laws, but used to have lots of text for free stored on it. Nobody can take your memory away from you, and nobody can give it to you but yourself. Memorization is simply the task of saying, I want to remember this, and then doing something, doing the work to make sure that you remember. So in closing, I would say in addition to memento mori, remember you must die, memento mementi, remember you must remember. Thank you.
That was one of the best Blue Stools I've ever seen.
That was
seriously.
hands down.
Seriously, you hit. That was fucking
incredible.
intense.
Thank you.
That was really.
It was really good, thank you.
Can I tell you how my
There was a
mind got
level of
blown?
abstraction.
Far